recently this week, it's the end of an era for a big YouTube, big company of YouTube, Rooster Teeth, was shut down. So, well, I brought this in because for me, I personally grew up watching a lot of Rooster Teeth stuff, especially with Achievement Hunter. You kind of knew a bit about it because I would loop you in sometimes. So basically, Rooster Teeth was a company founded in 2003. They just predated YouTube and started working on particular animations such as Red versus Blue. And they ended up, by the time YouTube came in, they blew up and were able to go into all these directions of content creation and producing different things. So in 2011, they created what I followed was Achievement Hunter, which joined the craze of like video games, right?
Yeah.
On YouTube, watching Let's Plays. And also they went on to create more animation stuff along with Red versus Blue, Ruby, Camp. This particular series called Genlock, which Michael B. Jordan voiced on. And so they were able to reach out to, basically they pioneered this new digital age for almost 20 years with using YouTube and also their own website to be able to just expand and
create a community and
create anything, create fandom. Like it's very much YouTube. In the YouTube age, Rooster Teeth was pretty much one of the
pioneers,
starting blocks, so to speak. Yeah. If it's like you've probably heard of like the different adjacent production companies or that they've been able to create as well. So you've probably heard about them. So it was just on March 6th, it was announced by parent company Warner Brothers Discovery after unsuccessful attempts to sell the unprofitable fandom, gaming, and comedy entertainment division, they would be shutting it down. Jordan Levin, the new CEO who followed after Matt Hullum and Bernie Burns, he said, "We've read the headlines about industry-wide layoffs and closures, and you've heard me give my perspective and updates on the rapidly changing state of media and entertainment during each of our monthly all-hands meeting. Since inheriting ownership and control of Rooster Teeth from AT&T following its acquisition of Time Warner, Warner Brothers Discovery continued its investment in our company, content, and community. Now, however, it's with a heavy heart, I announced that Rooster Teeth is shutting down due to challenges facing digital media resulting from fundamental shifts in consumer behavior and monetization across platforms, advertising, and patronage." So, honestly, from my perspective, I feel like Rooster Teeth has kind of started losing steam during the pandemic or even post-pandemic, which I feel a lot of entertainment
started to crumble, right?
A lot of particular facets of entertainment, corners of entertainment have crumbled and suffered through. But there's a bit of a timeline of things that sort of indicated that the writing was on the wall, that something was happening with Rooster Teeth. So I'll mention during the end of 2022. So firstly, in 2022, they were acquired by Warner Brothers Discovery, which I feel like might have been a fundamental move for them to be able to try and make some profit. We'll touch on stuff about Warner Brothers and their reputation in a little bit. But through that move, by the end of 2022 and through 2023, there were massive layoffs through different divisions. For me personally, like I saw a lot of certain members of channels or different divisions, they would be tweeting like, "Oh, our job just got dissolved. We've been forced to go off to do somewhere else, to go head off to another place," which is very tough and unfortunate. A big development happened in October of last year. Achievement Hunter actually got shut down.
Yeah, that's what I remember. Yeah,
they got shut down with the remaining members moving and pivoting off to other projects and like to their own little corners. But even then, some members had already left. But also, for example, Matt Bragg, he was one of the people that got affected by the layoffs in 2022. So it was a lot of, everyone was like, what the hell is happening? There's all this change after Warner Brothers took over. And then essentially the remaining members, they tried to create this new channel called Dog Bark, which is them trying to be Try Guys. I showed this to you a bit, where like they're trying to do skits and all that more comedy stuff and trying to move away from the video games era, which is true because
It's all like if like this is me not knowing anything about the gaming zeitgeist.
Yeah.
But it's all in Twitch, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all moved to there. It's
all there. There's a whole like plethora of new talent that has amassed the audiences that probably Rooster Teeth had at one point in time, and it's that interesting space and time where, again, as I guess influencers and personalities, if you can only hold an audience for so long based on, you know, the tried and tested things that you've done, where old formats start to die out.
Oh yeah.
Chuck in a controversy there, you know, to kind of really alienate some of your fan base.
Yeah.
And then it all just fizzles out from there, right?
Especially it's true. There's only so much that the talent or the fandom has a loyalty to that they can carry.
Yeah.
Because I would admit there was, in the past couple of years, I was watching less and less of Achievement Hunter stuff unless there were specific people in it. I was like, okay, I'll tune in. But it like, cause the YouTube algorithm, that's its whole thing of like, it's constantly changing. It's making it harder for those sorts of formats to break through. And so that's why I guess it was that decision, as hard as it was, that Achievement Hunter eventually crumbled. And then, interestingly enough, last month, at the start of February, the X accounts of Rooster Teeth and adjacent properties became archived and no longer active. And
they're really shutting down all the IP and whatnot.
That was very suspicious. Everyone was like, what does this mean? I believe they were still functioning on Instagram and maybe Facebook, but the X accounts were just it literally says no longer active. Being an archive, so you could still scroll through
for the memes,
and especially for the Achievement Hunter channel, like they're still leaving it up, because if you still want to watch videos, you can still watch
passive income.
Yeah, exactly. Just if you're feeling nostalgic and whatnot,
which that serves, you know, it's tale as old as time. You know, you think of Simpsons reruns or anything that, you know, you're like, oh, I wouldn't mind watching that again.
Yeah, or sitcoms, you know.
Is it something that you can watch again though?
Probably, like so. Is
it just people playing games?
It's like people playing games and stuff. And so if you really follow a certain personality, and you know, there's certain videos that become you know, lore in the mind because it's just that was really funny.
Or running gags.
And it's also probably taps into this whole idea of the parasocial relationship that people have with internet personalities where they feel like they're your friend. So therefore, you know.
Because that was how their style became so popular. It was that style of, it's like you were in the room playing the game with them. Yeah. And
because they rely so heavily on the creation of community, the like-mindedness, the, you know, we are the same because we enjoy the same things. It's a sense of identity that people draw upon from them, right?
And especially like going more towards a lot of their live action stuff and their animation too. It's the fact that it's coming from a studio that's sort of independent in a sense, but they're actually almost more connected to with the internet.
Well, they had the backing,
the increase,
right?
The increased connection to there, which taps into the parasocial thing. Because if you compare it to like just normal TV or film, there's kind of a bit of a different separation of the creators to the fans. But that's why with something like Rooster Teeth, they were like pretty much on the same line of connection to the fans.
That's how you get your subscription, right? That's how you get the funding. It's literally appealing to the senses of, you know, if you love us, support us.
Exactly.
Speaking of, if you love us, support us.
Support us.
Yeah. Subscribe.
Just subscribe and like.
Leave a comment as well on the videos. We'll get back on that call to action afterwards. Yeah. And so that's what has led to wanting to talk about Warner Brothers Discovery in itself, because it has
that kerfuffle.
It has gained a pretty bad reputation under the leadership of David Zaslav. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name correctly because you seem like a pretty unlikable guy at the moment because of what you've been doing. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So
Speak, I guess.
speak. I'm just saying
Bit rough,
because so this kicked off with Chance, you agree. So this kicked off with he has been involved with the write-off of certain movies. So for example, the Batgirl movie, there's the Scooby-Doo animation movie, and of course the current one, the Coyote versus Acme movie.
Oh, that's what happened to it.
That's being written off.
Wow.
These movies are being written off and are apparently never going to be released, just to be written off as tax cutoffs.
That's hilarious, right? Because it's sorry, I just need to ponder back onto this idea of Warner Brothers kind of killing off their original IP, right, with Looney Tunes, naming one of them, but just then where it's, I guess, again, it comes to this weird thing of like, is it fit for purpose for the times of now, right? Is that if people would be interested in it? I did hear that the movie is actually amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
Was it Coyote versus Acme?
Yes. Looney Tunes live action. Will Forte's in it. John Cena
basically like
is in
Space Jam, but like different character, right?
Yes. And it's interesting because all the uproar that happens with these movies, it just gains more traction for the movies because everyone wanted to see
release the stuff.
everyone wanted to see the Batgirl movie, but that has been locked away, and it's said they will never show that ever. Like it's gonna be never. And in terms of, it's the same thing because Warner Brothers Discovery owns HBO Max, and then it changed to Max. And all this,
which is terrible. That was a terrible idea. These
stupid titles for the platform. They've been suffering. They will have exclusive shows on their platforms, cancel them, and then just completely wipe them.
Yeah.
And that's adding to further discourse of how streaming shows are making it harder for people to be able to watch it further, like later on, because once they get it removed from the platform, it's almost hard to find them again unless you pirate it, which is what a lot of people are turning back to.
As the owner of that show, you're trying to find syndication deals, and, but like,
and physical media is
how do you cut through and get your content when it's so hard.
It's unfortunate. And then on top of that, it's Rooster Teeth is an example of this as well. Of now this behemoth of a company that, like, it has been, from all the comments that I've seen, part of people's childhoods, essentially, is now being cut down. And, like, I would...
But, side question.
Yes.
I assume that their viewership has gone down.
Yes, especially, which is what I was going to touch on. Despite the sentimentality that surrounds Rooster Teeth from a lot of fans, in the past years, there have been a lot of allegations that have come out about toxic work environments, time crunches for the animation department. A lot of people who have come and gone from the company allude to certain, like, they've had experiences there that made them want to, they ended up leaving. So both takes are valid. Both takes can coexist. That, yes, it was... it was valuable and sentimental to people who watched it, but also they had their problems.
It was the best of times, and it was the worst of times.
They had their issues, they had their controversies, and I've seen a lot of people celebrate the fact that Rooster Teeth is being taken down, and it's like, well, yeah, that's your reaction, but of course, the people who feel sad about it, they're allowed to feel sad about it if they want to.
It really speaks to this idea, I think, of the virtue signaling of things, where it's like, or you feel like you've outgrown something. It's a kind of a myriad of those two feelings, where it's just like you're rejecting that part of you.
Yes. Or we've moved past this. This has aged differently. But yeah, it's just very interesting. But otherwise, it's shout out to fortunate condolences to the people who have lost their jobs. Essentially, it's very unfortunate for them. Hopefully, they're able to get back up and find work elsewhere, continue their work in content creation. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, it's a farewell to Rooster Teeth. It's
Another one bites the dust.
Another one bites the dust. Well, I mean, I feel like I've been prepared once Achievement Hunter left, because that was the portion I was more connected to.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, oh, wow, okay, I guess that's done. Those were high school days, and they're gone too, just like those days as well. And so
It'd be tough out there.
it's tough out there.